Hello everybody, this is Mo, the Gnostic Warrior and the founder of the Order of the Gnostics. I'm doing this live walk and this talk today. And wow, what a week it's been, guys. Hello, thanks for joining the conversation. I'm gonna have some people, of course, from the Facebook community. Oh man, some disconnection issues, etc. I'm gonna get to a better spot here, and all kinds of weird stuff, guys. They are making it very, very difficult for me to do any type of live video. So I don't know who's watching this, but I'm gonna try to flow, but they're messing with my mojo right now. So as many of you guys know, I've been doing these walks and these talks mainly on Facebook with the Gnostic. Oh Lord, guys, I'm hoping I can get a good connection. I really feel that there is a conspiracy here against me and this work that I'm putting out, and it's getting pretty bad, guys. It's been a whirlwind the past month of everything that I've been going through, and I've been sharing with you guys, and the attacks that I've been getting are just off the charts. And the latest, as some of you guys know, Facebook is banning me from doing live videos. They didn't give me any reason. They banned me for 24 hours, then they deleted a bunch of these videos. And I can't access those videos anymore. And then today, when I went to go do a live video, they basically said, this user cannot post any live videos. So the clampdown on this work is getting out there, guys. So yeah, please share this on Facebook, Gnostic Warrior, Facebook/Gnostic Warrior, to all the community, because you know there's thousands of people there that were enjoying this message, and now they're getting cut off from it. And now I'm on YouTube, and if some of you guys know about YouTube, it could be a little bit rough, okay? Doing these live videos and managing the community on YouTube is a completely different ball game compared to doing this on Facebook and managing a community there, where all the users have their profiles, their names, etc. So what I've found is that on Facebook, it's very hard to be a troll and to issue propaganda and ad hominem attacks on people like me. So what they do, the new thing, is that they ban us from making these live videos. And the community that's much easier to manage on Facebook, you then go onto YouTube, and it's the wild, wild west, guys. Everybody's hiding, you know, all the trolls and the government propagandists are hiding behind screen names and shit, and they attack you all day. So I know I'm getting a bad connection here. I'm gonna probably maybe restart this video and do it from home. I just don't know how I'm going to do this. Any comments that you guys have or things? I'm going to start a private forum on GnosticWarrior.com. Okay, so if you guys want to follow my work, like indefinitely, go to GnosticWarrior.com and sign up for my email list. I'm going to start emailing the people that want to hear about this work, and we're going to be doing private videos and private sessions. I'm going to have a private forum as well. This information is not for the profane, it's not for the trolls out there, right, that want to attack you, etc. And the people that have no gnosis, no knowledge of this type of work, they're the hardest people to deal with, and they're everywhere. So, man. Yeah, Tumblr or Vimeo, I'm gonna check out alternative formats, you know. One of the things I like to do is I like to walk and kind of go off the cuff. I don't like pre-contrived videos where it's like a script and everything, but I might have to get into that and start learning how to do that. You know, I had mentioned in my previous videos that I do these walks and these talks because I lack time. I get exercise, and then also I could relay this information to you guys out there. And it's going to be hard because I work a full-time job. This isn't what I do for a living. You know, I'm not selling any type of products or, I'm not making a living off of these videos and my work on Gnostic Warrior. It's just been a labor of love and gnosis that I'm sharing. So I'll figure all that out. I'm a little bit in chaos and turmoil right now because I don't know what to do there. And it's weird when you get banned and your work starts getting suppressed. It's like this anxiety from the past. It's like this has happened before to me in previous lifetimes, but much worse, right? Because before they would burn us, burn our books, right? Crucify us. Good morning. How's it going?
I like your blog.
Thank you, man.
What's the address?
GnosticWarrior.com.
Gnostic?
Yeah.
You got some trippy vibes, dude.
What's that?
You said your vibe's trippy. I've been listening to you as you walk by.
Oh, really?
You got some deep shit.
Definitely, man.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Thanks, bro.
All right, bro. Gnostic what?
Gnostic Warrior.
Gnostic Warrior. One word, right?
You got it.
All right, brother.
Thanks, bro. Actually, you got a neighbor who's awake and illuminated to some of these teachings. He was saying he's been listening to me as I walk by his house and saying that I'm spitting out some interesting, crazy stuff that he finds interesting, and he wants to check out my work on the web. So some of you know that I've actually been attacked by neighbors doing these walks and these talks. They kind of added a little bit of drama to these things. I've had neighbors yell at me, pull up, try to control me. So all kinds of stuff have happened from these videos. So let's get into the meat of the subject today and what I wanted to talk about before all this kind of drama had happened. So I've been getting deep into this research and I want to share it with you guys. And I want you guys to understand there's a lot of people that don't understand why I'm relating the ancient teachings, such as the elementals, what Paracelsus had called the elementals, Manly P. Hall, and then also what various church fathers and philosophers had called spirits. They called demons. They called evil, impure spirits, ghosts, phantoms, apparitions. Okay. All these names, all these words, people need to understand they usually correlate with the unseen world that we can't see with our own two eyes. Okay, and this is how they describe them. So what I wanted people to understand, if you want to understand my work, you got to understand words and the words that we're using. So people will say the word spirit, but they don't really know what the meaning of the word spirit is. Okay? Spirit actually comes from the Latin spiritus, breath. Okay? And spira, I believe, I don't know how to pronounce it right, to breathe. Okay? So now you understand that spirit means to breathe. Okay? It's been a common belief for thousands of years that these spirits that they had talked about, that they called elementals, demons, ghosts, phantoms, incubi, succubi, could fly in the air. You couldn't see them, but they could fly and float in the air. And they had the ability to go into people, to insert through their mouth, through the ear, through their orifices, as in the case of the incubi and the succubi who have sex with their victims, they're able to go into the vagina, right? So think about this, guys. The modern science that I'm putting forth today, and that we know and we can quantify, and that we could measure with instruments, actual scientific proof, is that there is some type of spirit in the air that we breathe in. Okay? And keep in mind, when they said spirit, the ancients, the philosophers, the church fathers, etc., the spirit could be a supernatural thing or a being, or a person, a disembodied spirit, a ghoul, a phantom. So keep that in mind as you're listening to this work right now. Hey, thank you. And please, the Gnostic Warrior community, I've got a lot of haters and trolls sometimes on Facebook, but there's a lot of great people I'm meeting on YouTube, because this is new here doing the live, but I'm getting a lot of attacks and trolls, so please keep these people in check. They're doing ad hominem attacks on me, and they're attacking me, but not providing any evidence to refute my information. So just please, a reminder to those out there, those real Gnostics, the Gnostic Warriors watching these podcasts, look for the trolls in the comments, and please keep them in check. YouTube is just out of control when it comes to that. Facebook, I just ban them, block them from my channel. I could do that here, but it's a little bit harder and I'm busy. So back to the word spirit. We now know it means to breathe. We know that the ancients had said that these spirits float in the air, that they were supernatural beings or things. They had the ability to make man sin, to take over their minds. These spirits, right? They had the ability to devour the person's flesh, to make them go mad, right? You guys remember the classic cult thriller, The Exorcist, right? I want you guys to look at that movie again, and I want you to relate it to everything that I'm saying now about these parasitic fungi, and start reading the science of how these fungi cause depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, all kinds of different mental diseases. There's no other thing or organism in history that has ever been identified by science outside of religion, right? We're talking about secular science without religion. Okay, they're kind of two separate roads, right? But if you guys know history, you know that the priesthood and the king, they were in charge of the knowledge, the gnosis, the science, right? Before our modern era. There was no scientists in white coats and had degrees. Your scientists were the priests, the church fathers that got the gnosis, the Gnostics, and destroyed everybody else and put everything in the Vatican archives. What the hell do you think happened to everything? Who became the priest? Who became the doctors, the physicians, the men of science for thousands of years? The church, the priest. Do you think this was by accident? No. So remember when I talk like this, that the men of science before our modern era, literally 200 years ago, they were all priests. And in particular, Catholic priests and Jesuits. Right? So if you don't understand this, you don't know history. The priest was always the physician, was always the shaman, was always the scientist, he was always the historian. They were all rolled into one person in being the priest, and then that all got thrown out during the Reformation. In about the 16th century, King Henry VIII. Okay? Anyways, that's a different story. But I just want you to understand that concept. And the mentality of these priests is that they were scientists and physicians. When they were describing spirits to breathe in these impure, evil spirits, they were describing the world that we see around us today, only in their vocabulary and their language. Think about this, guys. It's really simple. How they used to talk is different than how we talk today and the words we put to different things, because we have evolved, our language, our science has evolved as well, and our descriptions of things from back then to now. But they're the same things, just described differently. And that's what I want you guys to wrap your minds around when I talk about spirits, to breathe, okay? Fungi, molds, we breathe these things in our house. Right now, I'm breathing in impure, evil spirits, guys. This dirt, everything you see here, guys, this was all made by fungi. Everything, right? When this dies, when it ends its life, fungi will break this down, and then it'll turn to this. Dirt. And then guess what happens with this dirt when the wind blows? It blows in the air. All kinds of microscopic spores. I'm not scared of the spirits, guys. I'm in control of my fire. I'm in control of the light. This is something I'm going to share with you guys as we as we go along and do some more of these videos and how you can control these demon elementals. And it's all about raising the light, the kundalini, okay? As I'd say to you guys in the order of the Gnostics, right? You want to be a Gnostic warrior, you want to know what the kundalini is? The kundalini is your central nervous system, guys. Okay, so when they say kundalini, we're talking central nervous system that connects everything to your brain, to your mind. This is the place, Golgotha, they talk about in the Bible, where Jesus was crucified, right? He was crucified on the Logos, on reason, right? So we get ignorance, we get gnosis, we get agnostis, loya, right? People were destroyed for their lack of knowledge, their lack of gnosis. Don't let that be you guys. It was me one time, and I refuse to be that guy. So back to these spirits to breathe. Remember that everything that they talk about, I could prove can be connected to parasitic fungi, and I also could prove the science. As I had said, these evil, these impure spirits, remember that there's different classes of these spirits. When I say spirit, I don't mean all the spirits. I don't mean the whole unseen world is fungi. Okay, guys? Some people will say that. No, I'm just talking about a different class of specific spirits that actually work hand in hand with humans. Okay? And this is going to become more evident to you guys as I put this research out. And a lot of you understand we have two hemispheres of our brain, right? Did you guys know that literally the two hemispheres of our brain operate independently of one another? Completely independent. And they've done studies on this, guys. Your left and your right side brain, some people talk about this, the reptilian brain, right? So, they've done studies. There's a book, I forget what it's called. I think it's The Origins of Consciousness. There's a great guy that if you guys want to get deep into the rabbit hole in these studies, what is it? Colin Wilson. Colin Wilson, great philosopher, author. He had written a book, several books, and one of his most famous was called Mind Parasites. He wrote another book called The Outsiders. You might have heard of it. He's written books on the occult. He died in the year 2013, but check on YouTube, Colin Wilson. And he talks about everything that I'm talking about now, but in a different way. All right, and that's what I'm finding, is that this different ways of talking about these mind parasites, they call them energy parasites. They're out there in this world, they seek to suck our energy, to live off of us, to live off of our juice, almost like in the Matrix, right? You ever see the Matrix? They give us these clues in the movies, right? Our Gnostic overlords through Hollywood. The Matrix, the scene of the babies, right? And then they're in this fluid, and you have these cables going down, and they're like being sucked of their energy. It's like they know something, right? But we don't, right? Because we lack gnosis, we lack knowledge. The Gnostics knew about this stuff, guys. The archons, right? In the Bible, they're called legions. We are many. And what people don't understand is that these spirits that I've identified as demonic parasitic fungi molds have the ability to commandeer our bodies, our brains, our minds. They have the ability to take us over completely. But what I've found is that we have the ability to work hand in hand with each other. So that's some of the other people that I get that don't like my work, or they make comments that are negative about it. They say that, you know, fungi is symbiotic, bacteria, all these things are symbiotic with us. Yes, they can be symbiotic if we're living properly, we're thinking right, we're eating right, we're in control, 100% control of this apparatus. Okay, so if we're not in control of this body and this mind, guess who's in control of it, guys? It's the guy that's sitting in the right brain. Interesting, in this video that Colin Wilson I watched the other day researching what I'm talking about, and he's talking about that book, The Origins of Consciousness, and he talks about the author bringing forth a study where they split the brains of patients that have some type of personality disorders. I forget exactly the term for it, you guys probably know, but they literally split the brain of the person and they disconnect them. Guess what happens to those people? They become two people. They're no longer one person, they become two people that have conversations with each other in the same head. They did further studies with these people, and they would ask the different sides of the brain questions. And what they found is that the left side of the brain, this side right here, is the I. It was the answers that the scientists had got that proved this is where our soul sits. This is where our logic, where our reason is. This is where God is on the left side. That's the I am. The right side is the reptilian. What I believe is able to be commandeered by the parasitic fungi, and that we have a symbiotic relationship with this other spirit that is able to enter our bodies, that's able to graft into our DNA via horizontal gene transfer. Did you guys know that our blood, you guys have heard of, I've been getting some comments and some emails from people asking about Rh negative blood, O negative blood, all that stuff. Did you know that those terms, the negative, the B positive, etc., it actually relates to the microorganisms in your body, and more specifically the fungi genus? Yeah. So you guys got to research that if you're into the Rh negative bloodlines and stuff like that. My mother was O negative. And I'm AB negative, guys. So that would be considered what they say, the Rh negative, the rhesus, monkey, whatever bloodline. It relates to fungi. And keep in mind that I've traced my genealogy, my DNA. I've told you about that. I'm related, guess who? To the Queen, through my mother. Guess who else on my mother's side? St. Luke. Verified by DNA. I could show you my certificate, and then I could show you their DNA, and it matches on my mother's side, my mtDNA, my maternal bloodline. On my father's bloodline, I got E1B1C1, 1, 2, 3. Okay, this bloodline, this DNA bloodline, I actually trace back to the Coanium Levites, to the tribe of Levi, to Moses, right? He's allegedly the founder with his brother Aaron of the tribe of Levi. And the Coanium were originally called the Cones of Cause. And they were known as the Ophites, the followers of Apollo, the god of medicine, the god of healing, right? And through this bloodline, I'm related to the pharaohs in Egypt, Ramesses III. I'm related down through time to Pythagoras and Plato. And then I'm also related to one of the most famous mass murderers in history. Imagine that. These world leaders, right? I'm sure you've heard of Adolf Hitler. Yeah, that's where these occult bloodlines go through, and that's where a lot of us are being activated to what's going on, because a lot of us are DNA descendants of these people. A lot of us have lived these lives before. A lot of us have been into the Gnosticism, into the Gnosis, into the occult, into the truth movement. As Plato had said, all learning is remembering. So that's why I want you guys to understand this Gnosis, this knowledge that I'm sharing with you. It doesn't come from what Carl Jung, the Swiss Gnostic, had said, thick history books. He said that history lives within the blood of our veins. That's where the history is. Carl Jung, I write about him in Blood Memories and Gnosis on GnosticWarrior.com. And I relate how his whole body of work deals with Gnosticism and Gnosis and what Plato had said, all learning is remembering. So when we gravitate and resonate with these teachings, guys, you and I have done this before. We have talked about this before. We have done it. So all these philosophers you see today, they're the philosophers of yesteryear. They're just carrying on the baton, the Colin Wilsons. There's another cool guy, Zach Oracle, that I've been watching on YouTube. You could check him out. A lot of guys doing some cool shit on YouTube. So a lot of, I want to stay on track here to what I wanted to relate to you guys in regards to the spirit and then this research I'm finding from Colin Wilson. So remember Colin Wilson, guys. If you want to go deep down the rabbit hole, start checking out his books, The Mind Parasite, The Occult. He basically said in an interview that he's written 100 books and they're all on the same subject, just written in different ways. Pretty interesting. And what he calls this mind parasite, what I call the parasitic fungi that I could verify by science that he was theorizing about, that he had interactions with, he called the robot that inserts itself inside of us. He talks about this robot throughout his work, this being that is separate from us, and that how it's where the emotions come from. It's where when we drive, right, when we take a route to work and we just almost go, after a while, once we learn that route, it's like we go on autopilot. Right? It's like we do things almost unconsciously. We're going to work, we're doing this. And if you look at society today, everything they do is like that. It's almost they're in this lower state where they're doing things, they're walking around, they're talking, they're handling business, but they're really not conscious. It's as if this robot that Colin Wilson talks about has taken over this apparatus, and they're basically operating from the right side of their mind through the reptilian mind, who I believe is controlled by the parasitic fungi. Okay? And I believe that the key is not to live in the right side of your mind all the time. It's not to let this robot commandeer your whole world. Right? It's your left brain, you have those conversations. You're having a conversation with the robot, guys. And what he talks about and what I talk about in my teachings is that we got to rise above. I talk about raising the phosphorus, right, from our lower state, our genitals, to the mind, right, the kundalini. This is why the priests were called nagas. They were called serpents. Why do you think they were called serpents and nagas, guys and gals? It's because they controlled the worms and the parasites with their fire, with their phosphorus. You see, when you control this fire, when you're a thinking, conscious being, when you're in complete control of this phosphorus and it's rising to Golgotha, to the mind, you're the most powerful force in your body. But if you don't rise it to the mind and connect it to Jupiter, where we get this life-giving, alchemical, conscious-giving energy that these parasites wish to extinguish, because they do suck up our phosphorus, our oxygen, everything. They're energy parasites that they talk about. They're the mind parasites that Colin Wilson talks about, right? They seek to dominate us. They seek to rule us. And it is through this light, through our souls, if we connect to our heart, and if you know the ancient teachings, it's all about the seat of the soul. And they say the seat of the soul is in our blood, and the actual residence of it is in our heart. So do you know what the mystics were talking about and the philosophers when they said that? Basically, that in order to operate as a human and from your soul, you got to connect your eyes, your mind. You got to see with real eyes. You can't just look at things.
you've got to connect with them with your eyes. I talk about that all the time. It opens up a whole new world. You could be in the reptilian side of your brain, and it's a two-dimensional world. Everything is black or white, or, you know, some colors, but it's just really, really bland, and things are just like emotional and terrible. You're just like in the ocean, just getting tossed around. But when you operate from the light, from the left side of your brain, and you connect your kundalini, your central nervous system, it goes up through your chakras, that light, right? Remember, if you see some of my other videos, I talk about how these parasitic fungi go to work on our chakras, on our glands, right? Our chakras are our glands. The pineal gland, the thyroid, they reside in there, guys. So we need to burn them out with our light, with our phosphorus. This is the key, okay? And there's many ancient teachings that talk about this, and to relate what I'm talking about, phosphorus has two different colors, guys. When it's seething, when you're not in control of that phosphorus, you have the luciferic effect. Okay, it's a red glowing light. This actually feeds the parasites. But when you're in control of this light, and the emotions are in line in your body, this light is blue. This light Colin Wilson talks about, and other people talk about in various ways, this blue light that we have that emanates from us. It's poison to these parasitic fungi. When they see it, they know, don't fuck with this guy. I'm serious, guys. Do not fuck with this naga, with this serpent, with this priest, right? That's Jesus. I tell you, in the stories of St. Michael and Jesus, right, guys? Look, Google it. I always say Google it because I don't have the research with me, right? They have their foot on the neck of the devil, right? Think about this. Think about the analogies of what the church and the church fathers were trying to tell us in these stories, and how Jesus and, you know, St. Michael, the archangel, they basically defeat Lucifer. They chain him, right? And you'll see pictures, right? And you have Jesus and his foot's on his neck, and then you'll have the archangel Michael, but he's not dead. The devil is never dead because he rules the world, right? They tell you about this, the beast. He rules the 666, the carbon matter of humanity. 666 being our DNA. And I tell you that these beasts, these parasitic fungi, they can graft into our DNA, right? Through horizontal gene transfer. So they come into our bodies, and they're able to basically splice their DNA into our DNA to become one with us. Fact backed by science. Right? So if you're getting what I'm getting what I'm telling you here, there's also movies where they're putting this out there. The newest Prometheus. Check it out, guys. It's exactly what I'm talking about right here. So in the movie, these guys have this, they get infected with this black goo that look like spores. Goes in their ears, goes in their mouth, and guess what it does within 24 hours? It changes their DNA, it changes everything of them. It makes them mutants. Mutants, right? That's where we get the mutants in Marvel Comics, right? What do they think of all these beings, these things? So you'll see this black goo, black blobs, this meme go throughout movies all throughout history. And then they have the massive parasite, right? And forget what I think it's the Clash of the Titans, right? Release the Kraken, right? And that's Zeus, and he releases the Kraken, this big-ass parasite, onto the people, and it just destroys them because they failed the test, right? This world we have, guys, is a trip. And you'll understand that Gnosticism, alchemy, Hermeticism, it deals with everything that I'm talking about now, the Kabbalah. When you look at the Kabbalah and you look at magic, it is actually dealing with the unseen world that I'm talking about now. And as Pythagoras had said, all is numbers. Everything is math. God creates with math, with geometry, right? The Freemasons. God is geometry. So if you look and you understand that God is geometry and all is math, all is number, you'll understand that why each of these spirits, these elementals, have a signature. Okay? They have a geometric signature to them. That's why sigils, signs like the pentagram and the inverted pentagram, etc., they all have symbols and stuff because everything's a geometric pattern. All right, I'm not going to get too much into that because I can't divulge too much information there to the people, but that's probably the most I'm going to give you on that subject ever in these podcasts. So if you want to start discovering some magic and understand that God is number, God is geometry, and that everything is created with figures and sigils, and these sigils are used to ward off these spirits. I'll give you one last little cool little tidbit here. You know when the magicians, they draw the pentagram on the ground? Most people don't know why they do that. You know, it's supposed to be the magic square or the magic circle that a magician could stand in, and he could be protected from these evil spirits, right? He protects his soul. Do you know what that pentagram stands for? I'm going to tell you, and you're only going to hear it from Mo, the Gnostic warrior, guys, and I hope this gnosis gets out there. The pentagram represents your soul. It represents the fire in your body. It represents the sigil of your soul. It represents the geometric pattern of the light that is within your body, okay? And if you've been listening to my walk and my talks and read my articles, this light is called phosphorus. So if you research phosphorus, right? Phosphorus in Latin is Lucifer, okay? The pentagram, the upright star, is the symbol for phosphorus. Big web right there. So I'm glad thank you for watching this video, everybody. Thank you for the comments. As I had mentioned, I've been banned from Facebook doing live videos. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do these videos on YouTube, but let's see how it goes. Let's see if I can get some people from Facebook over here and then get a cool YouTube going for a while and before anything happens. But I want to see if I could address any questions. Omar, we fart sulfuric gas and we fart methane. So no. What people don't realize is our gases, when we heat them up, they actually come out in the form of gases, and our chemicals, excuse me, when we heat them up, they come out in the form of gases and acids. And these acids and these gases are the perfect environment for these fungi, okay? So you'll look, Omar, and people out there, Google devils and farts and demons and farts, and you'll see all kinds of pictures and medieval depictions of devils and demons, and they have like smoke coming out their ass and farts and people coming out of them, right? So it's an interesting thing, but when you start studying alchemy, you understand that everything we do affects our chemicals, our phosphorus, right? So we have phosphorus, we have sulfur in our bodies, we have all these chemicals, and if you understand as above, so below, you understand that the chemicals we have in our body, guys, they come from the planets. Okay, so here's another tidbit for some of you guys. Every chemical, everything that we have in our body actually comes from a planet up above. So that's why the philosophers, the Gnostics, say as above, so below, as within, so without. The as within, so without is a little bit different. But remember that. And phosphorus comes from Jupiter. Okay? Sulfur comes from Venus. Guess what happens when we heat these, when we sin, right? What the church fathers would call sinning, or when we're living bad, or when we're thinking like idiots, and we're getting all fearful and stuff. It morphs these chemicals into gases and acids, guys. Okay, and these acids and these gases, oh no, I think the fungi have taken over these dogs over here. They're barking at me. No, just kidding. Taking a walk. I'm gonna go to the gym today. Hopefully I haven't been called out on a job yet. As some of you guys know, I don't do these by script. It's just off the top of my head. So please forgive me for some of you that want some professional video with everything on there. So I got to check my other phone. This is my boss work phone. My master pages me when I got a job. And some of you guys know I'm in the mold business and the water damage industry. So I don't just talk about this off the top of my head. I actually live in this world. My son was affected by mold. I've been studying it for the last 4 years thoroughly. And my experience before I got into mold was Gnostic warrior. You know, studying the occult, studying the demon world, studying, you know, what they were talking about. So when I got into this world of fungi and mold, I started seeing these parallels. And then once I got out of it, once my son got well, once I did all these different remedies to get rid of these fungi in our bodies and started balancing them again, where our light could operate and, you know, the reptilian brain wasn't taking us over, and I commanded my spirit, I was able to start connecting everything together. And it was just like, all learning is remembering, as Plato had said. And I know this is something I've done in a past lifetime, and I'm just doing it now. And what people don't understand, that's one of the keys to happiness, guys. I'm probably the most happy I've been in years, like a decade. And I've had some happy times in that time and some very terrible times. And right now, I'm not making a whole lot of money, living month to month. I work my ass off 60 hours a week at my job doing water damage and then doing this, but I'm the happiest I've ever been. And what I relate this to is I'm connecting to the gnosis, to the knowledge that I once had. I'm connecting to the great work that I'm supposed to carry on. And I know it. And I'm operating from my heart. I'm walking my path. It's the most fucking coolest thing in the world, guys. You know, so I really encourage you guys, if you're not a Gnostic, start studying your bloodline, right? Get a DNA test. Know what type of fungi resides in you, okay? Are you AB negative? Are you O negative, AB plus, positive, whatever it is? Start studying your DNA and your ancestors, guys. This is where your gnosis comes from, your knowledge. It comes from your genes, right? The Bible starts with Genesis, or genes. That's where everything comes from, right? So if you study your bloodline, your DNA, you're going to connect to teachings and possibly past lives that you had. And what I've found is when I connected to these teachings, my learning and my knowledge and my gnosis accelerated like nothing before. So I highly encourage you guys to get a DNA test, study your last name. Those are some cool things that you could do to find your gnosis and to find your path. Thank you for the thumbs up, everybody. And again, please keep any of the trolls in check. So yeah, we all resonate with the family. I guarantee a lot of us, our cousins that are watching this video are along the similar paths or into similar things, right? I've told you guys when I studied my DNA, I'm actually related to Ethiopians that have black skin. And sorry, I hit a tree right there. I'm actually related to Ethiopians that have black skin. And I'm white with blue eyes, right? I'm actually related to Arabs, right? They would like, I'm an infidel, right? But they're my cousin. Same exact bloodline, same DNA bloodline. It's amazing. So you'll find out some pretty crazy stuff when you do that. And sorry for the delays in this transmission. I'm gonna see if I could answer a couple questions here. Hey, you're welcome, Sean. Thank you for all the guys from Facebook coming here, and then all the YouTubers just finding my channel. We got about 53 viewers, etc. And hopefully they don't ban me from YouTube, right? I'm just gonna go walk and go to the gym right now before I start my day working. So, oh man, what to do now? What to talk about? So, the theme of this podcast, I know I go in and out of subjects, but it's about spirits, right? It's about what the ancients had called impure and evil spirits, what Paracelsus had called elementals, right? These incubi, these succubi that were able to have sex with their beings. So let's talk about that. I got some interesting research to share with you guys. If you guys want to hear some crazy stuff, have you guys ever heard of the Pythia, the priestesses of Pythia, the oracles? The priestesses of Pythia. Interesting story, guys, and it deals with everything that I'm talking about right now. There were these priestesses in what they call Delphi, but what we learn now, Crete, from the island of Crete, Atlantis, Cappadocia. Crete is where the Gnostics had come from and where all these stories come from, where my ancestors had once resided. Crete is where Sir Arthur Evans had labeled the Minoans, the Palace of Minos. Just so you guys know, Minos means Jupiter, and Minoans means children of Jupiter. Right? That's where the first Freemason in history who invented the glue and the working tools for Freemasons, Dadlius, he had created the labyrinth, the famous Cretan labyrinth. So there were some interesting parallels that I've studied these priestesses of Pythia. Pythia comes from Pytho, and it means serpent in Greek. And Apollo was known as the god of healing, the god of light, the god of truth. Apollo was the god of medicine, and he was credited in Greece to killing the serpent. Right? So the priests of Apollo were known by Pytha. And you always find their names Pythagoras, right? Serpent. So if you research these priestesses, you'll learn that in around the 8th century, 800th century BC, etc., that they had went into this temple. In the oracles of Delphi, they had called it, and they would go into this temple, and they were the only ones allowed in there. And at the time, they only used the upper class women of the tribe to be a priestess, to be an oracle for Pythia, a Pythia priestesses, right? And they would go into these chambers, and there was this steam that came up from the chambers, and they would sit on this omphalos, they called it. And it's basically this ball, this egg, and it had all these serpents and like different things carved into it. And they would literally straddle this egg with their dress on and no underwear on. And they would let these vapors go into their vagina and they would breathe them in. And these women would then almost immediately change their appearance, change everything. They would become inhabited by this being, the spirit, from these fumes coming up, going into their vagina, going into their mouths, and they would start talking oracles. They would become inhabited by a being where they would learn the future and the past. And this happened, guys, for hundreds and hundreds of years. And there's different theories to what this gas was. But what's interesting, if you look at the original word that they used to describe the nurses of Pythia, I believe it was the father of history, Herodotus, who had said it came from the word to rot. Plutarch was a priest of Apollo, and he had visited these. So the only accounts we get are from them, of these priestesses, but a lot of writers write on this, Huxley, etc., and they talk about it, and one of the theories is that it's fungi, that it's ergot, that what they were breathing in were essentially fungi, right? And I actually have research that shows that they actually used to put the rotting carcasses of their most eminent men and people at the bottom of these pits. I know this sounds freaky, guys. And some of them would get impregnated. They actually would have babies without having sex through this gas, through these vapors, through these parasitic fungi. And this relates to the incubi and the succubi. And I do believe they have the ability to do that. And that relates, sorry guys, I'm walking up a big hill. I do walks and talks, so sometimes I'm out of breath. As I go to the gym. I've lost like 7 pounds doing this. Trying to lose, I got a gut, little double chin. I don't want my gut to connect to my chin. So I want to stay healthy, and I want to control this apparatus. So working out to me, guys, you control this, you control the reptilian brain, you control the parasite that wishes to take you over. So back to the priestesses of Pythia. Check it out, guys. So they think what made them mad and what made them be able to do oracles and predict the future and the past, one of the theories is it's fungi, ergot. That's the same thing that we make LSD from, and mushrooms, etc. And I believe it. And I actually believe there's other things going on here, and that it's through the fungi DNA and everything that everything is kind of encoded. So our spirits, the light, the phosphorus, is the light of God. It's what we're all connected to. It's what we all could plug into. It's where we could get all the creative ideas, the reason, the logic. The right side of the brain is our computer software. It's the fungi. It's the robot that Manly P. Hall, or excuse me, Colin Wilson had talked about. So we've lived symbiotically, just like trees do with fungi. Humans, we've lived symbiotically with these parasites, these fungi, since the beginning of humankind. And I believe it's how we have evolved as well. I believe all our memories are encoded within this DNA, which the fungi plays a huge role. And I'm going to prove that in the future on how these fungi, they work with us to basically, in all creatures on Earth, in making us symbiotic. And the research I'm talking about, guys, you know, the human genome, they call it the microbiota of the human genome. They say that literally 90% of our human bodies is made up of these fungi and these bacteria, of this DNA. So this is nothing new, guys. I mean, our bodies are made up primarily of microorganisms that aren't us. You know, 10%, you know, like our foot or whatever I say, our big toe, but if we're really to look at 10%, you know, that's very little human DNA in us. So what's all this DNA for that we have in us, this bacteria, these fungi? So, yeah, thank you for talking with one another. This is going to really expand this conversation in our community. The more you guys talk and share, I'm learning from you guys. Remember, I don't know everything. I don't claim like I'm a guru or something, or I know it all. I reserve the right to be wrong. Sometimes I am. My theories aren't in stone. I could change them if someone presents information to me that is logical and common sense and they have research to back it up. I could change some of these theories. But everything I'm talking about, guys, I have the science to also back it up. As I had mentioned, fungi, they have the ability to graft it into our DNA via horizontal gene transfer, HGT, so you could Google that. What other microorganism out there can do that? A few others, but none are as parasitic and dangerous as these fungi, and nothing is prolific and is killing as many things as these fungi right now. They're what killing the forest, right? I've told you before, it's not the beetle killing the forest, it's the fungi on the back of the beetle when he goes into the tree that infects the tree that is killing the forest. So what do we hear in the media? It's the beetle. No, it's the fungi on the beetle. That's like when someone dies from asthma. You'll look on the death certificate and the corner says, the cause of death is asthma. No, that's not the cause. If you guys understand words, the cause is the actual event that caused the death. It's not what caused the name, the Latin name that then caused the death. What caused the asthma? That's the questions that we have to ask ourselves. So if you want to be a Gnostic and you want to start having knowledge and gnosis and you want to learn to navigate this world, when someone says they died of asthma or a corner says that, go, what caused the asthma? we're finding out fungi is causing most of the asthma in the world, right? Go to the CDC website 2 weeks ago, they said, think fungi. When you have breathing problems, when you're infected, and when you're sick, think fungus, think fungi. All right, the first time in history they've ever come out and said that. All right, and then if you read the research and the studies, you'll understand that asthma and a whole host of other diseases are directly related to fungi. Okay, and this relates to the spirits, right? The spirits, they cause us to sin. They cause us to do certain things. And I talk about the science in these videos about the cortisol and the different things that these fungi could do and mind control us. So when I say they can mind control us, they turn off different systems and switches in our chemicals to where they could proliferate us, and they basically overtake us. Okay, they seek to devour our flesh, right? They had talked about these impure evil spirits, the philosophers and the church fathers, about they could devour their flesh, they would fatten up their victims. And when I look at what's doing to the fungi are causing people to have cravings for certain foods, for alcohol, for carbohydrates, for sugars. They love that stuff. That fattens people up. Look around when you go to Walmart. Bunch of fat people, obese people, and sorry for using fat. I guess the correct word is obese. Lots of obese people. I believe, like, when I go to Walmart and I see all the Parasite food on the counters and I look in their carts and they're eating Cheetos and frickin' Squirt, Mountain Dew, and then for dessert they have some ding dongs. I mean, literally, you look in their carts, guys. This is all fungi food. It's making their blood acidic and gaseous so the fungi can multiply. And then they're all obese, right? And they just get eaten alive and they get diabetes. What do you think diabetes is, guys? When they have open sores on their legs and their bodies. That's the fungi eating them alive. That's all it is. People are taking antifungals and they're curing their diabetes. Imagine that. Guys, when you start looking at fungi and disease and then connect it to the ancient world, the spirits and the elementals, it'll all make sense. You'll start going, whoa, Mo is making some sense here. So he's bringing some logic to the equation. I'm not just talking about a world with mind parasites and energy vampires that could take you over, and I have stories about it. I actually have science included with these stories. There's actually a ton of data and researchers that are backing it up, but they don't talk about it and they don't relay it in the way I do. And as many of you know, I'm the founder of the Order of the Gnostics, ancient teachings for the modern Gnostic. So if you want to be a man of knowledge and a woman of knowledge, be a Gnostic. Be one who knows. Don't be one who believes, guys. All right? Hey, Harley, thank you for joining and subscribing. Yeah, so people also go to GnosticWarrior.com. I have a feeling that these YouTube videos are going to be banned too. Okay, so if you want to find my stuff, go to GnosticWarrior.com, sign up for my email list. There's probably going to be only a few people that are going to be able to get these videos in the future. I don't know how much longer Harley and everybody I have here on YouTube. So they're censoring me. Lots of shit has happened to me, guys, in the past. I haven't shared it with you guys because I didn't want to put everything on blast because fear of my family and myself. So this stuff isn't new to me, guys. All kinds of things have happened to me before, but this is the newest. To only been doing this a month and I've never been censored like this, and I assume it's going to happen here YouTube. So if you want to follow me, go to GnosticWarrior.com, sign up for my email list. You could also email me, mo@GnosticWarrior.com. And then if you're someone who's into the mold stuff, you could email me, mo@moldsafesolutions.com. I'm trying not to get here as I cross the street. Sorry for the cars, it's a little bit loud right now. So I'm going to put all the research out there. If you guys want to see some of this research and read it, I have a page dedicated to this, both on GnosticWarrior.com and then moldsafesolutions.com. So if you go to GnosticWarrior.com, go to /demons, GnosticWarrior.com/demons, okay? And that's where I'm going to put all my research that I've done as far as on the demons, the elementals, the incubi, the succubi, and then also relating it to the mold today. So if you want to continue this research, go to that page and you'll see my research. I'm going to update it every day, every week. And then if you're into the mold community, go to moldsafesolutions.com and /mind. Okay, so moldsafesolutions.com/mind. All right. Yeah, get rid of these trolls, guys. You guys gotta snuff them out with their light. The parasites are attacking me like they do on the street here. So the trolls, get rid of them, please. Because what happens is I go to work and then I'll go in and I'll do my workout. I don't got time to manage the trolls. I don't have time to interact with them and stuff. So what's happening is they're dominating my channel before I ban them and I remove them from my channel. So anybody that talks smack, I'm gonna ban and remove them. Report their comment if they're using cuss words or whatever. Just put spam abuse. That will report them to YouTube. And then when I get home, I'll ban them, remove them from my channel. They won't be able to see here. So anybody that comes at me sideways, that attacks me, that doesn't provide any information or gnosis, they're a troll, they're a parasite, they're attacking the light, right? That's what they do, guys. Right? That's Antifa and all the freaking people that have no brains. They're not using their minds. They're controlled by the parasite. Right? That's most of humanity. Take care of the trolls, guys. Let's get rid of them. Yeah, no good to the stream. I agree. That's why they banned me from Facebook. Right? Because I could control the stream and these people had to put their names to it. Right? So these trolls, they go under their little pseudonyms, etc. And they could hide behind them and they work for the government and they get a paycheck because they're little pieces of shit, right? They don't have any minds. They don't know how to use their brains. They're controlled by the parasitic fungi. That's why the government gives them a paycheck, because they're fucking idiots, the stupidest motherfuckers you'll ever meet. So anyways, peace be with you guys. Love you guys. Screw the parasites. If they want to battle me, I'll have a battle with any of those parasites any day with my mind. They don't want to debate you. They want to attack you from the dark. Rah, rah, rah. Right? That's what they do, because they're weak in every aspect. Intelligence, they're weak in intelligence. They have no light. They don't know how to fight, do martial arts. Mo knows how to do martial arts, and I'll fucking kick their ass. Now, have a good day, guys. I'm going to try to get out of here. All right, I found it. Peace.